And welcome to this week's episode of the Fake Racers Podcast. He's Davey, I'm Joe. We're gonna get you're Davey.
He's Joe.
Yep, that's Bristol. Back there. Isn't that crazy? Do you have a Bristol behind you?
That's Bristol. No.
Ah, shoot. That sucks. He went to the vet on Monday.
Oh.
He was a good boy.
Good. Glad he was a good boy.
He's got allergies.
Oh, he's sniffling.
He's itching.
All
itchy.
Yeah.
His skin on his stomach gets all black and yeast infection and yeah.
That stinks. Don't like that.
Yeah, so he's itchy. But I just hug him extra, and tell him it's okay. It's okay. But you know who needed a hug? A lot of these race car drivers on Sunday, because boy, oh boy, Martinsville led. Martinsville delivered on some of that short track racing type of action.
That was peak Martinsville this past weekend, gotta say.
Yeah, we went 250 laps, and then all of a sudden we started deciding, okay, let's go ahead and crash them up.
Hey.
How it seems.
Pretty interesting.
Suarez was en fuego.
He was en fuego.
Both his car and his emotions.
Yeah. Can't blame him. He got kind of shafted into a position where he was, liable to get into an accident like that,
Yeah, I don't like a guy kind of taking it out on his crew. Some of his comments about, I was on old tires, we shouldn't have been on old tires, that type of stuff. I don't. It seems like a lot of times when something goes wrong, he's one of the first guys to say it's not my fault. I've noticed that from time to time with him. I don't know. That team, Trackhouse, has just been so up and down. Atlanta was awesome. Obviously the Bristol was incredible. Great. Yeah. Daytona, they were really good. But
it is kind of weird. Yeah, it's kind of it's like a lotto ticket whether they're gonna run really well or kind of run mid-pack.
I think having Travis Mack on the box. Obviously, they missed him this weekend with the ballast being in the jack post, which pretty clever. But they found it. Someone was more clever.
Yeah.
I wonder. He definitely gained a lot from his experience with Junior Motorsports down in the Xfinity series. Those couple years with Annette. So, I believe he was Casey Kane's last crew chief, if I recall correctly.
I actually don't remember.
I believe he was. He was one of Casey Kane's last crew chiefs before he got outed. They both got outed, I guess. But strategy calls, that was a hot topic too. I had friends texting me I think the 23 stayed out because they got a couple laps down for a loose wheel, managed to work back onto the lead lap. There was a caution with, I think they had 20 laps on the tires, and they decided to stay out, and friend freaking out. Oh, this is terrible call. It netted them. They were still up inside the top 10 by the time the next caution came out, and everyone came back down for tires. There's a lot of that strategy, which I think is good, and it's just a product of having kind of that one-lane race track. I don't know. I think that there was a lot of fun times with strategy.
Martinsville always kind of develops multiple storylines over the course of the race. There's always multiple things going on. There's always the guy that's going to try and stay out and just not necessarily be a roadblock on the bottom, but use the track position to his advantage.
Yeah, that's what you got to do.
As he should.
But another interesting tidbit. Laney. Now, remember how we talked at Atlanta, how all of a sudden he has this long run speed we haven't seen from him. It seems like he's always good on a short run. Car just goes away from him on the long runs. Well, again this week, another good long run car. What does that mean for that team? I would think it's something positive, right?
Yeah, you would think so. You would hope that they're not going to sacrifice when they need short run speed. It seems like they kind of did a little bit because they had good long run speed almost to a fault. we got to a point in the race where we weren't getting super long runs, and Ryan Blaney couldn't really get up through there. Now, of course, there was an incident with the penalty.
Yep.
That kind of ruined that.
Yeah.
But
I was gonna say, because what they would have probably come out top 5, and he was still one of the fastest cars on track coming to the end of that race. Because I think we had a decent run at the end where he probably would have been one of the faster guys on track.
Yeah, exactly. I agree. Martinsville this week was a very typical Ryan Blaney race where it kind of fell apart right at the end. Not necessarily of his own doing, but.
And I think that's important too, because I think a lot of times last year we saw where he would make a mistake, or maybe they went the wrong way on an adjustment. And I think that's a lot to do with last year, his first year with Todd Gordon as the crew chief, and I see a lot of similarities between when Joey had his first year with Todd Gordon in 2013. They both won one race. They weren't really fast everywhere, but they had some decent speed throughout the year, and I think that's what Blaney was probably a little bit better just because he has more experience with Penske, kind of knows how all this stuff works there. But I think this is gonna be his year. Like we've been saying that every year for the past 10 years, it seems like.
Yeah.
But yeah. I think this is like his real good shot for it to be his year. Now he's got a crew chief that I think can really mold a young driver, because we saw him do it with Joey Logano. And I think that's going to be something really positive if they keep the combination, and they're going to have to stick it out. If this year doesn't go good, you have a new car next year. You're going to have practices again, because I think that really hurt them specifically. Mm-hmm. Maybe not as much as the 22 and the 2, because you have older drivers there that are a little bit more in tune with adjusting a car throughout a race.
Yeah, I was about to say, like, Blaney's number one thing that he needs to work on is kind of something you really work on in practice sessions, talking with your crew chief, learning the vernacular, the vocabulary, the language. You guys got to be speaking the same language when you're talking about the race car. He hasn't had much of a chance to do that.
Yeah, oh, Daytona practice this year. Oh, yeah, I'm sure they did a lot of talking about how to adjust the race car in that.
Oh, I'm sure setup was super important.
Of course. Why wouldn't it be? But,
No idea why it wouldn't be important.
I don't know. It's not like we always call him a wild card. His two teammates wrecked each other to win the race.
This is fair. Fair.
But yeah, I think this could be the year. I'm hesitant to say that because I think we said that every year. People have said that every year. This is Blaney's breakout year. Oh, this is Chase Elliott's breakout year. Now, the latter of those, obviously, champion now. So, I think Blaney's kind of gotta raise the bar a little bit, right? Yeah. He has to take this team. He has to do what Logano did, and he's got to kind of take this team by the horns and kind of elevate himself, because I think we've always thought it was, when Logano joined, we thought, oh, it's Keselowski, right? It's Keselowski's team. Keselowski didn't win a race in 2013. Logano did. 2014, they both had really good years. 2015, I can't recall. I know Brad only won one race that year, so I'm assuming Logano did better. But Logano kind of took the bull by the horns and elevated himself up to that level where he was even with Keselowski and even at times better. Blaney's always been that third guy, right? It feels like he's been that third guy, even when not just necessarily because he was at Wood Brothers for that year. But he's always felt like he's that third guy, and he's just a couple steps below him. Not indicative of his talent. It seems like the results, right? Because the dude's
just where he's at.
Yeah,
it's just where he's at. And
that's driver development. Look at Kevin Harvick. Like everyone, Kevin Harvick was so good early in his career. He was, but if you compare his first 10 to his last 10,
it's ridiculous.
Exactly.
Ridiculous.
I mean, boy howdy, but I'm happy to see Blaney having long run speed. I think, especially with the way we've seen these races go, they've gone green to the end a lot this year. I think that's going to be something important as we start, heading through the summer.
Yeah, it's another step.
Yeah.
It's another step for him moving forward and getting better at the things he wasn't very good at before.
Another note Joe Gibbs Racing placed all their cars in the top 10. I don't know if this is the first time they've done it this season. I just thought it was interesting because I keep seeing people freaking out about Kyle Busch.
Yeah.
Hey, guys, don't forget, he's got a brand new crew chief that's never been a crew chief in Cup before, and they, again, no practice. And what have we always said about Kyle Busch?
Needs practice.
And
Needs practice.
And that's why he goes out and he runs these Truck Series, Xfinity Series races. I mean, that's not a knock on him because he's a fantastic freaking race car driver. He's just a guy that seems like he needs to get in a rhythm. It's not a mistake that these longer races, he's had better results this. So, but yeah, all Joe Gibbs Racing in the top 10. Congrats to Truex, obviously on the win. We're not going to talk about it because, Martin Truex won. Woo, right?
Woo.
He broke the streak. What I'm mainly mad about.
Oh yeah, kind of stinky.
Yeah.
Hey, Gibbs placing all 4 in the top 10 like completely mirrors how Stewart Haas Racing is doing.
It does.
They're not doing very well at all.
They're not doing very well. I think
how much do you attribute that to, like having Chase Briscoe, who is a rookie?
I don't attribute that to Briscoe.
Well, I mean like the performance of the 14 team, for example. Like he's a rookie, and we always talk about how a lot of like he was a really good Xfinity Series driver. He was really good with that package, and that package is it's not the current Cup package.
Yeah,
I think suffice to say.
You can kind of drive those cars a little more.
Yeah, Cole Custer, like, I mean, yeah, it's a second year. I think people are expecting big things, but it's
sophomore slump. They happen.
Excuse me. Yeah. And then Eric Almirola.
Yeah, let's Almirola. It's troubling because a couple years ago, they took Mike Bugaravich away from the 14 and swapped him with Johnny Klossmeyer with the thinking that that was going to do Almirola good. Almirola has only won one race, and it was because his teammate who was running in front of him ran out of fuel coming off of turn 4. That was that 2018 Talladega race where the Stewart Haas cars could somehow gap the field by 2 seconds. Not saying there's anything fishy there, but there's probably something fishy there. Anyways, good on them. Obviously, they got through tech.
Oh, but, for sure.
Almirola is the one that's troubling because you know the car's there. It's the same thing we always said with Danica Patrick. You know the car's there. You know the equipment's there. It's not like they have a worse car than their teammates. I truly believe that in this case. Because they all bring in sponsorship. Yeah. If anyone was to have a worse car, it'd be Cole Custer because he's getting sponsored by Gene Haas. Like, if that's what your argument is, Almirola's got full backing from Smith for the most part. Briscoe's problem, I think, is that crew chief relationship. I think Johnny Klossmeyer, I have a feeling he's a really good engineer. But sometimes it seems I don't know if I would have broke Briscoe up with his Xfinity crew chief. I don't think I would have done that. Because you didn't do it for Custer. And then why are we doing it for Briscoe?
Yeah.
And then you could have took Klossmeyer and said, hey, we want to keep these two together, and then put him down in Xfinity with Riley. And I think that could have done him a lot of good, too, because there's a huge, obviously, notebook down there. Because all the success that team had last year. I don't know. I attribute it a lot. I don't attribute it to them getting worse. I attribute it to everyone else getting better. Right?
That's a good point. I don't disagree with that actually at all.
Hendrick, think about it. Hendrick, when we got back from the pandemic, they ran really good for a couple of races, and then throughout the summer they kind of lulled back out to where they were running in 2019. RCR has upped their game since Reddick was on that team, and you got to include that 99 in there because that car is pretty much prepared in the RCR shop. Which when I see people comparing the 99 to the 43, I freak out because the 43 is actually prepared at Richard Petty Motorsports as compared to. Anyways, not the point. Yeah. Not the point we're making.
No, it's a fair assessment. Add it.
Yeah.
Eric Jones fan.
Yeah, look at the flag. But I just I attribute it a lot more to everyone else getting better. I mean, look, Harvick didn't make the Final Four. Everyone talks about Harvick not making the Final Four. It was a travesty. Even if it was in the Final Four at Phoenix, he was nowhere near the front. And if you want to say, oh, NASCAR lets them slip things through because they're the Final Four, talk to Jimmie Johnson in 2017 about that. Or 2016.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry, I got a Jimmy fan. I can't screw those
Yeah,
up. Who won the 20? Oh, Truex was 2017.
I was like, what happened in 2017?
But so that is you know, I think it's a lot of those other teams getting better and them kind of not. When you're on top, it's hard to make changes, right? Hard to fix something that you don't perceive as a problem. You don't perceive it as a problem if you're the best guy out there.
Yeah, it is really hard when you're, and I'm speaking even from like my little bit of experience like in karting. When you're fast, you come in and you just kind of look at it and you like, what do we do? Like, what do we actually do? Where can we improve? I'm sure maybe there's some data points that are looked at when that is the case. Maybe I can't speak for big teams, but it's really hard. SHR was at the top for a long time, and Kevin Harvick was the best driver in a lot of seasons in a row. It is almost impossible without like data points or without some sort of research or loop data, anything at all. It's impossible to see where you actually are and where you can actually get better because you're already the guy. I feel like, I know this probably sounds obvious, but like just driving at home, it is hard to think of things to do when you're already fast. Because number one, you don't want to touch it, and number two, you don't even know what to touch.
Right.
It's a lot.
And that's with anything in life. If you're good at writing essays in school, it's going to be really hard to take the criticism when you get it from a peer. When you're doing good on homework assignments, you're going to think, okay, I don't need to study for the test. Like this isn't something that's common. That's unique to racing or sports in general. This is something that people apply to their everyday lives. When you're on top at anything, it's hard to make the adjustments. And I think that's kind of where they kind of maybe took the foot off the pedal a little bit, right?
Yeah.
I think
that lends to be something that people should hear when I see a bunch of people kind of pooping all over SHR about how slow they've been. It's like, well, it's been a season. Give it a chance. Like, give it a chance. We got a new car coming. It's going to be totally different. Let them figure it out first.
Exactly.
If we move in the next season, they're still pretty bad. Then it's like, let's take a look.
Well, and they need to get better throughout the year. It's not saying that they can sustain this pace that they're on. They have to get better, but I'm not like freaking out about how bad they've been. All you need to do is win a race, right? I mean, that's the box we're playing in. All you got to do is win a race and be top 30 in points. They're all top 30 in points. All they got to do is win a race. So yeah, I don't. They're bad right now, but they're gonna get better. They're too good of a team. They have too many smart people there that continue to be this way. But Josh Berry. Let's talk about
what a win, dude! What a win!
That is the most excited I have been for a guy that like. Not saying like, oh, I don't like Josh Berry. He's a terrible person, but for a guy that like. I don't root for on a week-to-week basis. You know what I mean? So Josh Berry obviously won the Martinsville Xfinity race, held off Noah Gregson, however you say it. And Daniel Hemrick, who was really fast again. That hurts. But you gotta love it because I was listening to Dale Jr. Download. I still have to finish it. I'm recording this Wednesday. Burn almost the midnight oil. Look at Bristol. He's so tired. Anyways, I get off topic.
It's my fault. Sorry.
It's fine. But you hear Junior and you hear about him getting really emotional about the win, and this is a big deal because this is a guy that team has put a lot of time and effort and a lot of trust into. Right, has run the Junior Motorsports late model program. And that's where, guys like William Byron, now Sam Mayer, have gotten a lot of their experience that has kind of shown, okay, yeah, these guys are going to be good stock car drivers. So for him to get a win especially when some of those guys have passed him on the ladder when he's been their teacher. That's awesome. It's just
Oh
awesome.
yeah. Oh, yeah. All the tweets from people who are at Junior Motorsports who are kind of in the social circles a lot. It was really heartwarming to read all them, the videos of them crying and stuff watching the race. I even my dad, who doesn't even really know who Josh Berry is like at all. Even my dad was like, "That's really cool." I was like, "Yeah, it really was. It was." I couldn't believe it. First of all, I was
Yeah.
like, "He's actually gonna do it."
I was waiting for something to happen. I was waiting for Noah to absolutely send it down into a corner. I was waiting for a shoe to be thrown on the track. I was waiting for something, right?
A yellow, anything. I really could not believe like actually gonna do it. Last tick down, I mean, emphatic. It was a Bauer win. Like, win got it done.
And Josh
Really.
Berry is a very accomplished race car driver, right? Bunch of track championships, was last year's Advanced Auto Parts national champion for the NASCAR Grassroots weekly series, whatever. Yeah, weekly series. So that's like all of the NASCAR tracks, and then you run at those tracks and you get points, and everyone's points go towards the national. And they won the national championship, and you can say, oh, they had the best equipment. But they probably didn't, first off, because there are
Yeah.
a lot of teams. But just because you have the best equipment, especially at tracks where where it's not just about raw speed. Hey man, way to go, Josh Berry. There's a debate going on though with the playoff waiver. Berry, Junior Motorsports, their longtime sponsor Brandt wanted to get Miguel Paludo, who drives for them down in Brazil, I believe, in whatever series that is. It's like touring cars, right? Something like that. They put him in the car for the Daytona Road Course, so Berry didn't attempt that race. NASCAR requires that you attempt every race to get a playoff waiver, or to be eligible for the playoffs with a win. Berry also isn't slated to run the second half of the schedule because they're going to move Sam Mayer up once he turns 18, because he is ready for Xfinity with how good he has been. I would give him a playoff waiver, though, because they're stupid in the first place at this rate. We gave Matt Kenseth one last year. I know he didn't make good on it. I mean, if you're gonna say, oh well, we're gonna give it to you because we want to help you because the sponsors really want you to compete for a championship. Come on, like what? You wanted to let Matt Kenseth have an opportunity to make one last run at a championship. Is what you want. You wanted that story. They gave Tony Stewart a waiver. They gave Kyle Busch a waiver when he won the championship. They've given.
They hand them out like candy at this point.
Yeah, they don't. I don't. I don't get the point of the rule, because if the rule should just be you have to be top 30 in points. If that's what the rule's gonna be, just make it that rule. Don't say, oh, you also have to start all the races. Now, if you're a guy and you go out and win 10 races and then you don't start the other 16 and you're still top 30 in points, cool. There's got to be some common sense to it, I guess, is what I'm trying to say. Like,
which is hard to work into a rule because it starts to kind of get into a lot of
gray.
Honestly, I think in that case, like, I actually don't mind the waiver thing, because while it is like a fail-safe for NASCAR to be like, yeah, go ahead, it takes away all those like pesky little, a team purposely dropping out for like 5 or 6 races in a row. Like, I think that would hurt a lot more than just giving drivers waivers when they win a race,
Yeah.
Or whatever case is.
But that team's still going to have an opportunity to run for an owner's championship now. And I think that's going to be very important for Sam Mayer's development. So that is also something to consider and think about, because now he's going to be in a championship hunt, even if it's not. I don't know. We don't value the owner's championship because we're big brains or something. I don't know. But those owners championships used to mean a lot, and they should mean a lot. And they aren't always the same as the driver's champion. I remember Cole Custer won the owners championship first year when Reddick won the driver's championship. A full-time Xfinity guy still won the owners championship, even though he was going for the driver's championship. I wish NASCAR would shine a little bit more of a light on the owner stuff because they are.
Yeah.
It's important. That's important for the team, right? Teams don't always get the recognition, but
Agreed.
speaking of the team, there were some interesting little nuggets. Let's talk more about Junior Motorsports because we got to talk about it because Dale Jr. probably is going to get us clicks. I'm hoping.
Dale Jr.
Dale Jr. Dale Jr. Dale Jr. Okay, YouTube algorithm. This is pretty much the next gen conversation, right? With teams, is it feasible to come into Cup? You would think a team that's already established, a team that has a high profile owner, that can probably bring in sponsorship, a la 2311. I guess now Trackhouse with Pitbull being part owner of that team. That have those, Dale Jr. is a big deal. I know they haven't necessarily brought in as much sponsorship as I think people would think they would in Xfinity, right? Because that Brandt deal is all Geyer's stuff. Obviously, we all know about Michael Annett. The 8 car is funded here and there. Tire Pro's jumping on for 2 more races. Thanks to them for helping that team.
Very good.
And then the 9 has Bass Pro Shops, which is actually a sponsorship that Noah got for himself after winning Daytona last year for him. But there's not at that team. It's not. There's a lot of drivers that are quote unquote funded drivers, right? I think when we think about funded drivers, we're too quick to talk about these young guys coming up, right? We talk about Riley Herbst. You would throw Harrison Burton in there. You can throw in Austin Cindric. You can like these guys that are quote unquote funded. But they still work for, right? There's a level of working for. It's not, aren't these guys that are running around in 35th to say they ran a Cup race.
Yeah.
But that's kind of how Junior Motorsports is operated. They've gotten those guys that bring in money for the car, and that's how a lot of teams operate. It's not just trying to pick on them. So you'd have to figure out how your business is going to transition to going out and looking for those sponsors more actively. Not to say that they don't, but it's obviously not a big of a part of their business model, right? I don't know. I know I went on a tangent. I didn't really get to talk. I didn't really let you talk, but
It's all good. And like looking at it from like just straight up like what our notes say, Junior Motorsports to Cup, next gen conversation, basically. Like looking at it just from straight on, honestly, the biggest like hump I have to see them getting over is like acquiring a charter, probably.
Love the charter system.
Imagine a charter keeping out Dale Jr. from being an owner in the Cup Series with the new car.
Hey, if
imagine
Hendrick has to shut down a team because they can't find sponsorship. Yo.
Yeah. I wonder if anyone in NASCAR is starting to realize how bad they look with the charter system. Like, I wonder if anyone's starting to see.
I think they see it as a good thing. I think it's a good. There's elements to it that are good. You have that as an owner and as a team, you have more protections, right? You have it's an asset. Owners' points. We saw owners' points get sold, but they were getting sold for $100,000, $200,000. Because if you're not going to go use those owner points, okay, next car in line is going to get. You know what I mean? It just bumps everyone else up. The charters are guaranteed entries. So, looking at it like that, I'm trying to get the little Tigers in there. They had the bases loaded on them, and they were about to blow a game. I don't know if they did. If they did, I'm really sad. If not, I'm really happy we swept the Astros, cheaters. But it's the downside to the charter, or the upside of the charter system rather, is you're giving these teams an asset, an extra asset. Tell their sponsors, hey, we're guaranteed in this race. That's something I think is more valuable for teams at the back of the grid, like your Rickware Racing, your Spire Motorsports up until this year, because they've made a lot of improvement over there. Maybe more so with the 7 than the 77, because Haley's still kind of running around. Those teams, right, where they can say, okay, we're guaranteed in this race. We're guaranteed. We're guaranteed. We're guaranteed. The downside is
Yeah, I was
They're
like,
very
well,
expensive, and they're limited, right? And that's what makes them valuable. If we just had 100,000 charters, it wouldn't be worth a dime, right? Um, I think they need to find a better way to, prevent teams from just running around with the charter and trying to use it as a business venture.
mhm,
Because in the end, if all the other teams are out there that are competing to win, a lot of these teams are just breaking even, if not losing, right?
mhm,
Um, then you have teams at the back of the grid. Not all of them, but some of them, they're out there just to run for profit, trying to make some money, and if not, sell this charter down the road.
yeah,
Stuff like that, right? Um, and those are the teams that if a Junior Motorsports wants to get in the Cup, if 2311 wants to get a second charter, those are teams they're gonna have to negotiate with and talk to.
yeah.
Um, I just I've always seen the upsides in it, but to your point, I think it's still kind of something that's been fumbled.
Yeah. And I get the what you said about lower teams being able to secure sponsorships with saying we're locked in for this, we're locked in for the season, like we can do that, like that's great and fine and dandy, but
Because the thing
it,
is, with owner's point, I'm sorry.
I know it's fine. It's just it still rubs me the wrong way. Like
Yeah,
I don't want to be that guy. It's like it's been this way forever, never change it. But like teams at the back were able to get sponsors for years without having to quote unquote secure their way into a race, and I feel like it's not exactly a worthy investment if your team is the laughing stock and gets the worst publicity every week.
two drivers are wrecking each other.
And one of them is your son, and the other driver is telling you that he has mental issues and he should not be out on the racetrack.
Yeah,
Not great publicity, by
no,
the way. Let me reiterate, not not good, not good.
no, and I think when I say the guaranteed thing, it's more for selling sponsorship at the end of the season, right? You couldn't do that with owners' points. If you're, hovering around 35th, eventually by the time the end of the season comes around, you might not make that race.
Yeah,
Um, but yeah, I get your point, and I'm not saying I'm for it. I've never been for it. I think it thing that lacks with it is the performance, right? We've seen these. They've kind of just shuffled these charters around, make sure they're still top 30 or whatever they have to be.
hmm,
You can't be the bottom four, is what it is. So they've just
right,
shuffled these charters around. Richard Petty Motorsports still technically owns charters. One of the Rick Ware charters is a Petty
great,
charter. Um,
great.
and then Ware has three other charters because premium and then bottom not. So that's the thing. You gotta. It's a give and a take, right? It makes the teams valuable, but it doesn't necessarily lend itself to in making them go out on track and perform to their best abilities. Duality, Davey, duality.
Duality of NASCAR.
Mm-hmm. Hey, but next gen body is being unveiled May the 5th.
Everybody have
Cinco de
fun.
Mayo.
I get my second shot the day before that.
I think I'm gonna end
I'm
up.
gonna be
I'm
I'm
gonna
gonna
end
be
up
dead.
getting mine the day after. It's gonna be great. This time we're gonna set you
Yeah.
a really loud alarm for when we record. Really loud.
Yeah. For anyone is wondering what the heck we're talking about, I was pretty late to the recording today. I got home and I felt like,
Only two and a
as I
half
told
hours.
Joe, I feel like I've been hit by a bus has never been more accurate. But hey, that means it's working. So first shot done. Get shot, stinkies.
Be part of the solution. Don't be part of the problem. Um,
That was so poetic. That was so nice.
yeah. But
Yeah,
if you're a little timid by it, it's okay to wait.
hmm,
When your number gets picked, you gotta go. Right?
indeed.
Um. All right. That's our little PSA for this episode.
There we
Um,
go. Got it in. I
folks.
say as I feel like garbage.
I feel like garbage, but go do this.
Do it
Um,
anyway.
folks, big
Oh,
thanks and shout out to our friends at Circle B Diecast and Plan B sales. Use code JTN at checkout for free shipping on your order of $20 or more. Again, that's code JTN at checkout for free shipping on your order of $10 or $20 or more. I am tired. Folks, you use that code, it helps support us. We only get support when you use that code. You got to make sure you're typing it in at checkout where it says coupon code. It's right there, and you can always, before you pay, before you hit submit, make sure it's got that minus $5, $7, whatever the shipping ends up being. It'll take the shipping off for you. It'll show it in red with code JTN. Don't
be like me and forget to use the code.
Put the code in.
Yeah. So, and yes, I did buy my diecast for swearing last week. I bought Daniel Suarez's Camping World Cup Series car, 124 scale. Pre-ordered it, and I'm excited for it to get here and to do my diecast review.
Davey's diecast review. Davey's diecast discussion. DDD. Triple D. I think that one's already taken, but Davey, what car did you pick this week? Or rather, what car did I pick for you this week?
Yeah, Joe did me a little favor waiver here. I/Joe picked the Josh Berry dual autograph with the man himself, the man, the myth, the legend, Dale Earnhardt Jr., his 2021 Chevy Accessories, Martinsville first to win diecast in the Xfinity Series. Get your pre-order for that. That's going to be cool. Josh Berry's cool. Do it.
I'm going to pre-order the standard edition. They also have a standard edition. I believe there's an edition just autographed by Barry. Those are both going to be cheaper than that if that price tag's a little too high for you. And again, over $20, use code JTN, and you're not charged for a pre-order until it ships. So those probably won't ship until December, January, because it takes Lionel a little bit to get the artwork all approved, get the artwork done, send it back over. They're going to have to get stuff signed to install on the diecast over where they make them. But again, pre-order. That way you're, again, ticket in line. You pre-order, that guarantees you're going to get the diecast. Not always guaranteed things. Don't miss out. I got, since the return of the Truck Series is this weekend, I chose Grant Enfinger's 2019 Champion Power Equipment 124 truck. I have the 164 that they gave out or that they had in NASCAR Authentics. It's in a little case from the 2019. It's the Curb Records variant, but it's the same paint job. You can buy that. Again, both these things are linked in the description below. So you can head on over to CircleBdiecast.com. Excited for the trucks to be back this weekend, especially at Richmond. And during the day, it's going to be some fun. Again, code JTN at checkout at CircleBdiecast.com and Plan B sales for free shipping on your order of $20 or more, and to help support us at JTN. Yeah. Let's talk about your favorite.
Ooh, my favorite.
Your favorite. Indycar opens their season this weekend at the Barber Motorsports Park. Coverage is all on Peacock. So if you have an Xfinity subscription, you get Peacock Premium for free. So you should be able to watch the Xfinity, or, oh my goodness, the IndyCar practice, qualifying.
Same thing.
Pretty much. You'll get to watch all that on Peacock for free. So make sure you take advantage of that if you're an Xfinity subscriber. You can also get a free version of Peacock that's going to have more sponsor or more ads and whatnot on it. But I don't know necessarily if it allows you to watch all the practices and whatnot. I don't know if that's part of having to pay. But it's only, again, $4.99 a month. So, this isn't an ad for Peacock, but
I was about to say, it sounds like an ad for Peacock.
It has a lot of good stuff on it, and this is something we talked about earlier this year. We talked about how, my thought at least, I don't remember if you agreed or maybe it was your thought. I don't know. One of us was talking about, with NBCSN going away, there's probably going to be a lot more stuff on Peacock going forward that they're going to want to stream that way, like practices, qualifying, and whatnot. So you're going to end up wanting to get it, and it's good. You get, I think, WWE Network's on there now. So if you're a wrestling fan, that's definitely worth it because you get all the pay-per-views for $5 a month, which is a lot cheaper than the $50 a month they are to buy on pay-per-view. And then they have all kinds of shows and stuff, so I think it's worth it. I got it, but I also have an Xfinity subscription, so, I'm double paid for it. Anyways, Jimmie Johnson's debuts this weekend at Barber. That's what we're mainly going to focus on. Scott McLaughlin is no. Wait.
Scott
Yes.
McLaughlin is making his
Yes.
full-time debut.
Yeah. Full-time debut in the 3 PPG machine. For Penske, Dixon is going to be trying to defend his championship from last year in the COVID season.
Well, who cares about that? We're going to be NASCAR homer for a second.
Talk about our man Jimmie Jam. First off, Davey, are you ready? Are you excited for this? I think I know the answer.
Honestly, I'm going to be very honest. I think I'm going to be kind of emotional. It's going to be a lot. It was really stressful last year watching Jimmie run his last races, and I did not expect to be so emotional come the last race of the season. And I was a wreck. I was a little baby about it. It's going to be a lot. I'm excited. I cannot wait. I can't wait for later in the season when I get to see him live in Nashville. That's going to be amazing. I am ready. I'm ready. I'm just ready to cry.
Hey, that's okay. Of course, they scheduled it this way. The IndyCar race starts at 3. The Cup Series race starts at 3. They're both on network television. One's on NBC, one's on Fox. But guess what, guys?
That's awesome.
Gotta love motorsports. So if you got a second TV or a second screen, you're definitely going to want it this weekend. Pick which one you'd rather watch.
I have multiple screens.
There you go. I do too.
Yeah.
But it's going to be a fun weekend. How do we gauge success early in the season with Johnson?
Finishing races. Finishing races.
When does that not? When do you start having to transition towards top 15s, top 10s? Because he's in a Ganassi car, right? He's in one of the better cars on the grid, or at least you'd believe that. I also want to see how this team performs when Kanan's in the car for the old. Good.
I think that I think once we get a few races in, you can start kind of looking at where Jimmie is on track, where he's running, where he's finishing. You know, the decisions he makes on track. Is IndyCar gonna have qualifying this year? I don't even remember.
Yep, they have practice, qualifying, they have everything because there's less people, that you need in the.
Yeah, I think he's gonna struggle in qualifying. Single lap pace probably isn't gonna be his jam. I think he's gonna do.
It
a lot
never
better
was in
races.
NASCAR though.
Yeah. Like I think. Yeah. I think that's gonna be a thing though in IndyCar. Like he's just not gonna have good single lap pace.
For a little bit, right? He's gonna get better.
Yeah, it's tough because again, you're looking at a guy who is in his 40s, and the first time he drove anything that resembles what an IndyCar is was the Formula One driver swap with Fernando Alonso in Bahrain a few years ago. That was it. That's probably the first time he's driven anything that is open wheel, high downforce. Really, I'm pretty sure Indy cars have pretty good brakes at this point. Like, obviously, Formula One cars are way advanced in the braking. So I don't want any like Formula One snobs to get mad at me. Again, you can only make those excuses for so long. I get it. I know he's done a lot of work this offseason. Every single time he posts something on Instagram or Twitter, it's an IndyCar thing. It's just tough. It's tough. I don't want to seem like a homer. I really don't want to seem like a homer.
But you are.
I don't want to be. I am. But I don't want to be harsh. Like I feel like you can't be too harsh on a driver who, old dogs new tricks kind of thing. It's not going to be easy for him. He's not as in shape for open wheel high G racing as a lot of these other guys. It's going to be an uphill climb. My measure of success, I guess, then in that case, with that being said, is improvement. If he improves, if we see statistical improvement, if we see him making the right decisions over the course of a season, like improving on that, that is where I think his success will be, and that will make me happy as a fan.
Yeah, I think that's fair. That's kind of along the lines of what I said about Stewart Haas Racing at the start, right? When we talked about that.
Yeah.
I think you can't go into it though with the mindset that he's going to struggle. Because for all you know, A lot of the stuff they were doing in testing was testing, right? They're testing things out. They could have been doing some different things with the car, maybe just trying them out, seeing if he liked them because he doesn't have as big of a notebook as their other drivers.
Yeah.
Something to consider. You also know it's Jimmie Johnson, right? We look at this guy as generational talent. 7-time champion in NASCAR Cup Series. And if you want to discount those because of the chase, if you want to discount whatever, that's fine. He still won 5 of them in a row. There aren't a lot of sports teams in general that can win that. Hard to have repeated success, I guess is what I'm trying to. There's always going to be that lure of money for somebody on the team. Back to this though.
Mm-hmm.
I think don't go into the weekend if you're a Jimmie Johnson fan. I want him just to finish. It's okay to I want him to get a top 10. I want him to finish top 15. It's okay to be disappointed if he doesn't have a good race. It's okay. I think he's okay with that too. He's gonna be disappointed. I mean, that's all these guys. If you don't finish in the top 5, if you don't win the race, you're disappointed, right? Doesn't matter what car you're in. I'm sure Cody Ware was disappointed that he didn't win the Martinsville. Like there's a level of that.
Yeah.
Depending on what.
No matter where you are, no matter what the situation is, you want to do the best you can do. And while he may still do that, the result might not completely show it. It might not make sense to a lot of people, and it might not even make sense to the driver themselves when they struggle and they don't get quite what they wanted.
Yeah. Be okay.
Be okay. It'll be okay. And I'm okay with it. I'm ready to see it, and I'm ready to either be pleased. I'm ready to be like, oh, that kind of stunk. Like it's just is what it is. It is what it is. And I'm not. Jimmie Johnson is a NASCAR guy who's trying out IndyCar. We're
gonna see what happens.
We are.
But
how do you think he's gonna do? What do you?
I think he'll do better than what a lot of people. I think a lot of people are kind of saying, okay, he's gonna be at the back of the grid most of the race. Not gonna be able to. I think top 15 is very doable. I think that's very doable.
I would scream for a top 15. I would be ecstatic. It would be awesome.
If it doesn't happen, I'm not going to be disappointed by it, though.
Mm-hmm.
But I think it's doable. I think he's got the team. He's got talent.
And he's put in the work. God, he's put in the work. I mean, dude, the dude was getting laps and everything he could get his hands on.
Exactly. So, and they even reshot that Sports Center commercial.
that was so funny. Oh my god.
Literally, that's one of those ones you can just take a drill. They're just screwed into the ground. I was like, oh, I should have been like, oh, these are so much easier this day. That would have been so much funnier. So much more funny. All right. With that, we're still, primarily NASCAR and all that, because that's what JTN is NASCAR-ish broadcast.
Big old fender cars.
Big old fenders, big heavy cars. Richmond is this weekend. Brad Keselowski won the only Cup race there last year. Justin Allgaier swept the 2 Xfinity Series races, because I believe there were 2. And then I think Grant Enfinger won the truck race there. I can't recall correctly. I believe that's who won that one. Only trucks and Cup this weekend at Richmond. We're 2 short tracks in a row.
Woo!
It's a day race. Richmond Day was good a couple years ago. Wasn't good the last time we did it.
I'm getting it together. Because I know we're probably gonna do some picks.
We're gonna do some picks. So you're like, I want to make sure. I'm excited. Because I'm not a big Martinsville guy in general. I know it's probably, blasphemy or whatever. But wasn't saying it's bad. Just saying, not my thing. Not my cup of tea. Richmond isn't either. I think that race, that last day race, Keselowski led like 2/3 of the race. I fell asleep during, and I don't fall asleep during NASCAR races.
What?
I know.
What?
I fell asleep. I'm in the NASCAR podcast, and I fell asleep during a race. I'm not a wheel.
What? NASCAR fell asleep.
My brother one time. True story. My brother one time, we were at MIS. I don't remember what race. He fell asleep underneath the bleachers.
That's awesome.
Like laying underneath, like how you sit not like underneath the bleachers, like where it's shady. No, like laying down underneath where we're sitting, up in the grandstands.
That's
He
so
fell
freaking
asleep.
based. That's awesome.
I love him, man. He's my
Oh
dude.
man.
But he doesn't go to those races anymore. um, but anyways, back to Richmond. Who would you, if you had to pick somebody for trucks, who would you pick? I think Kyle Busch is in the race, so I think that's kind
Kyle Busch is indeed in the race, and that is a hard bet or hard pick to bet against.
If you had to bet against Kyle Busch.
If I had to bet against Kyle Busch, that's tough. I'm gonna say John Hunter Nemechek.
Okay. I was gonna say Ben Rhodes because he's been on a tear this year. Hey, not my favorite guy either, but that 99 team, they got something's in the water in Sandusky, Ohio.
I know. I don't disagree with you. I don't like the guy that much.
Hey, that's fine though.
Made a silly bagilly of himself last year, so
he did, but then he won Daytona.
Redemption. He's done it. It's the redemption story.
It's not.
Nope.
Cup.
Thanks. That was really emphatic. Cup.
I'm so excited. You can tell.
I'm gonna. I'm gonna swing for the fences on this one, Joe. I'm gonna swing for the fences.
Okay.
Going all in.
All right.
Needs to happen.
Yep.
Daniel Suarez.
Wow. That is a swing and a half.
Swinging for the fences.
Where are they starting? They're probably starting deep,
they're starting like 27th or something. Where are they? 27th.
No. I'm gonna pick Brad Keselowski.
Yeah, very
original.
Two very different picks here.
Very different.
Look at Daniel Suarez.
I'm not even keeping track of these. I just think they're fun to make.
Gosh, they are fun to make. I do enjoy it. And every once in a while, you get a real corker of a pick like Ryan Preece at Bristol. That was
a good pick, and then I think he wrecked, right? Or he got involved in something.
He got involved in a wreck.
Poopy.
Oh, actually, I think he had a mechanical issue.
Oh, 37 team having a mechanical issue? What?
Yo, what?
They get bit by everything.
Ryan Preece has been fast this year. I don't care what people say. He's been quick. It is a shame.
All the Chevys
they're probably not going to run the season.
The Chevys as a whole have been really quick. All of the Chevys have been quicker since they consolidated that engine.
I'm looking. Oh, you know what? Daniel Suarez has been pretty good at Richmond. 12th and a 7th in his first Cup season. Top 10 and that wasn't a good race, but he started at the back. Started 38th, finished 17th. That wasn't as good.
Improvement.
But all in all, he's run pretty well.
How did he run there last year in the Gaunt car? I probably shouldn't have been there.
That's not fair.
That's not fair.
That's not fair.
But where did he run?
I gotta find the Richmond race. Where is it? It's down at the end. Yeah, didn't do very well there, buddy boy.
Where'd he finish?
Like the 28th or 38th or something like that.
That's not terrible. 28th isn't terrible, but 38th is.
No, it's not bad. For Gaunt, no, it's not.
At a track that they probably didn't plan on driving or going to.
Yeah. Second race of 2019, got another top 10. He's actually quite handy at Richmond. So I'm digging it. Did well in Xfinity there, but he was really good in Xfinity in general. Yeah, I stand by the pick.
Stand by the pick.
I like the pick.
Likes the pick. Davey Hazard. Daniel Suarez.
Correct.
Davey, that concludes everything for this episode. So, as is tradition, where can these folks find out more from you?
Well, you can find out more about me on Twitter at Davey Hazard, on Instagram at D7H5, and on Twitch at D7H5er with an ER at the end. I need to stream more, so I might do that soon. It's been a little rough. Haven't had a lot of time. Tonight, I feel like garbage, so I'm obviously not going to stream tonight. But give it a follow anyway. When I do stream, it's a banger. And yeah, there's other things you can do to support JTN, which I recommend you doing first, though. And we're going to go to one Joe Tawansky, Johto Network himself. And we're going to let him tell you about how you can support JTN or Johto Network.
Best way to support us is, of course, to subscribe to JTN on YouTube, Johto Network, youtube.com/Johto Network. Or if you're on the YouTube, you can just hit the subscribe button. It's right down there. Make sure you like the videos. That really helps. Share them with your friends if you feel so inclined. That is a huge help if you are to share stuff. That really does help us because we are trying to get out to more people. We're doing our best. But this whole time, we haven't been able to do stuff without you, the fans at home. So we're asking for your help again.
Yeah.
I know we're asking again, but we really do appreciate it so much. And we really, really need it, especially with these podcasts. Just share them with your friend. Be a friend. Tell a friend.
Yeah. Seriously, don't mean to interrupt, but thank you so much if you made it this far for listening. There's a few people that I know of that listen this far. My parents, for one. Maybe that doesn't count, but I still love it. There's a couple people at the USORL who listen. Noah Joyce brings it up every once in a while. If you're any of those people, bring it up in passing. Tweet about it.
Noah, you're my dude.
Noah, you are the dude. I appreciate you so much. Thank you so freaking much. Just bring it up in passing. Talk about it. We really appreciate it, and we love doing this, and we want it to make sense. So doing that would help it along for us.
Motivation, I think, is what it comes down to sometimes, right? Folks, you can also check out our Facebook page. Going on, liking our Facebook page is a big help too, because then, Facebook is like, oh, more people like this page. Maybe I should show these posts page to people. Going to our Twitter and following us on Twitter, then you'll get notifications anytime we post anything on YouTube, which is, these podcasts, live broadcasts, diecast reviews, whole slew of things, and we're going to have more projects as my schooling winds down for the semester. We want to give you guys content. We want to give you guys things that you like, though. So if there's stuff we can do better, we always like the feedback. That's what the comment section are for. If you hate what Davey said, if you hate anything Davey said,
just come on, argue with me.
Argue
I'm
with him.
Tired of not being argued with.
Argue with him in the comments down below, because he'll get at you. You'll know it's him. Know it's him. Or you can add him on Twitter. You just tell him he's a big poopy head.
Add me on Twitter, and it is on site.
Let me tell you. But also, if you're listening on Spotify, Apple Music, or podcasts, or Google Podcasts, where if you're listening on your favorite podcast platform, thank you so much for doing that. We know we didn't have an episode for you guys last week because we made it YouTube exclusive, so you're going to want to head over to the YouTube for that. But we really do appreciate you guys, our people on our podcast platforms, because that is a huge help to kind of get this thing distributed more and more and more. More avenues we have, the better we can kind of get this content out there. I know it's not the highest production quality, but we really do try to at least give good opinions and have good conversations, and I think that's where we really shine, whether it be broadcast or this or whatever it may be. If you have the means, and this is only if you have the means, going over to our JTN merch store is a huge help, because that's just kind of our store away for if we need any kind of tech upgrades, if we need to, kind of work with stuff. That's a huge help too. We're trying to get some newer stuff to kind of help with making these a little bit better, whether it be a microphone for Davey, because I think that would be cool to give Davey a microphone so he's not on his headset. But
what are
also,
you trying to say?
Oh, nothing. Your audio quality is way better than my headset. But helping support us on the JTN merch store is a big help. I know we got a lot of people. Anytime we talk, a lot of times it's drivers in these leagues that we do. We appreciate you guys purchasing the merch. Send us your pictures on Twitter of you wearing it. Picture of it sprawled out on your bed just to show that you got the merch, that you support us. Like Davey is. I think Davey's like our biggest merch purchaser. But I
do what I can. I put on for my city, so
we're a year into this thing, and it feels really good, guys, and your guys' support has just meant so much to me, whether it be Davey, it be you, or Tommy, Ricky, Gordo, the guys that have done our race broadcast with me, or it be the people that have commented on the videos and liked them and shared them, and there's too many people to list them all out and thank, but we really do. I really, really appreciate you guys. I know Davey does. I don't want to speak for him completely like I have a habit of doing, but
you get it right.
We really appreciate you guys is the main message. And I hate asking you guys to help keep supporting us, but I know you guys love to do it. Yeah, that's about it, Davey. I think yeah, I think that does it for this. I think that's a podcast. I think that's an episode.
That is a dang old podcast right there.
Dang old episode of the Fake Racers podcast, folks. Thank you so much for listening. Like, comment, subscribe, do all that stuff. We will see you guys next week, post Martinsville, post Barber Motorsports Park.